Well, the Walt Disney Company has closed down several major fan favorite attractions in Walt Disney World over the last year, and now apparently they're stripping it for parts and selling off the nostalgia back to the people whose hearts it broke. Let's talk about it today on That Park Place. Vash, can you tell them a little opinionated on this subject?
I can only imagine.
Yeah,
Marvin.
so
only imagine.
From thatparkplace.com, written by me, Disney World is selling off remains of beloved demolished attractions like Muppet Vision 3D, Dinosaur, and Tom Sawyer Island at auction. For decades, Disney fans have accepted that beloved attractions may eventually close to make way for something new. It's part of the life cycle of a theme park. What many fans have a much harder time accepting, however, is the idea that Disney World would first shutter cherished attractions, demolish them, and then turn around and sell the pieces back to fans for a premium at auction. And that's exactly what appears to be happening. Disney has announced a new partnership with Heritage Auctions that will see authentic props, signs, and other artifacts from retired Disney parks attractions auctioned off beginning during D23 in August. Among the attractions reportedly being stripped for auction are Muppet Vision 3D, Dinosaur at Tom Sawyer Island, and the Rivers of America, locations that many fans had hoped Disney would preserve in some fashion. The Disney Asset Management team has reportedly been collecting prop, signs, and themed elements from recently shuttered attractions specifically for future auction sales. Rather than preserving the pieces for archives, museums, or potential future use, the company plans to sell them to the highest bidder through Heritage Auctions. Disney describes the program as giving these items their next chapter with the fans who treasure them the most, aka super rich people, Vash.
Of course. Well, I mean, yeah, I guess let's go ahead and profit off your memories right here. By the way, Marvin, this is very Paul Pressler-esque, but we'll get into that in just a second.
Critics, however, are likely to see something much different. For many longtime guests, this isn't about giving fans an opportunity to own Disney history. It's about Disney finding another revenue stream after permanently eliminating experiences that guests spent decades loving. The emotional attachment fans have to these attractions is precisely what gives these props value. Without those memories, those pieces of wood, fiberglass signs, and set dressing would be worthless. So essentially, it is destroy the attraction and sell the pieces, Vash. But now, what does this tell me immediately? Muppet Vision 3D, probably not ever coming back. We've been hoping for quite some time that Disney might rethink the decision to take out Muppet Vision 3D. They've hinted in the past that the show would continue to live on in some way. A lot of people were hoping, and we had heard rumors that they were going to eventually take that horrible, deeply unpopular villain show out of the theater next to Rock and Roller Coaster and put Muppet Vision 3D back in there. However, Vash, that does not appear to be the case.
It looks like it is not going to be the case right there. If they're already removing not only props, but not instead of storing them, they're getting rid of them. I think we had heard from Pro that maybe some props were ending up in some places. I think what the new Muppets take on Rock and Roller Coaster right there.
Yes,
so
there are a lot of props from like the queue area, like the pre-show room. And plus the Statler and Waldorf animatronics as well, which kind of have ended up in Rock and Roller Coaster now. So here's the thing. I always said that, okay, well, the only way they're going to, bring Muppet Vision back would be if they have the ability to just pick it up and, put it in a new location without spending a whole lot of money redeveloping things. Unfortunately, that does not appear to be the case because they're selling this stuff off. They've repurposed a lot of this stuff. I think Muppet Vision 3D is in our rearview mirror for good.
I think so. I don't think there's any intention to bring it back, which is really, really unfortunate. I do think the rumors of having maybe a VR experience available somewhere, I think those could go somewhere. I think that's legitimate. I think that's accurate right there. But in terms of restoring this attraction to its former glory, I just don't see it. And that's really unfortunate, too, because, well, at Disney California Adventure anyway, we still have that Muppets Theater right there. But a lot of people are saying, well, maybe that's on the chopping block, too, for Avatar. So the venues by which you can even bring this back just don't appear to be present, which is very much unfortunate. And to actually sell out these assets, that just puts a pin in it as far as I'm concerned. And that's just really, really sad.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think they got this idea when a while back, because Disney used to just store everything because you never know when you want to bring something back out, roll something back out, and so when Spectrum Magic, the nighttime parade went away, Disney took all the floats and they stored them in disassembled states in an area kind of by Bay Lake, off kind of in the woods on the far end of Bay Lake. Well, what happened was something was wrong environmentally, and basically the floats got ruined, from what I understand. And it got to the point where like, well, we could never use these again. So what they did was they like chopped up the floats and would put like a piece of like the wood from one of the floats in like a locket, and they started selling those off, and people bought them like crazy. And the second Disney realizes that they can monetize something, woof, the dollar signs appear in their heads. And so now, but like, so it's like you upset so many people by closing Tom Sawyer Island, by closing the Muppets. I think everyone kind of saw the writing on the wall with Dinosaur. And now you're going to turn around and be like, hey, we ripped your heart out on this, but now you could bid to own a piece of it. And it's not like this is a thing that's going to benefit the average Disney fan. It's only going to benefit their favorite Disney fans, which are the Disney fans who either have an absurd amount of money to blow on things, or the Disney fans who will go in, are deeply irresponsible and will go into considerable debt in order to own something that at one point touched Walt Disney World. But like Disney fans were always pretty rabid about like owning things from the park. Like I had heard from character performers that like they would have to watch out because there were people that would literally try to cut pieces of their costumes off.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, I read that in the cast member confessionals book one time. They were like, people will literally try to rip off a piece of your costume to keep it.
Oh, that is absolutely insane. Now, I mean, monetization and exploitation of guests there, I guess, is not even a news story. But it is really, really interesting just how rabid that fan base is, and obviously Disney understanding that, well, they can cater them in all kinds of creative ways, which most unfortunate, especially for the attractions that we love and we're hoping to actually be restored in some way, like Muppets, for example. But this really does remind me of like those 90s, that era right there, because when eBay became a thing, Marvin, oh boy, did we see a litany of different things wind up on eBay by Disney. And a lot of people got a lot of memorabilia and so forth, some things that you wouldn't have expected, like for example the Disneyland sign over there at John Stamos' house right now, which is absolutely extraordinary. But like ride vehicles and so forth and all kinds of stuff that Disney, are just saying, hey, look, listen, we're not going to store anything. We're going to go ahead and get rid of this stuff, and c'est la vie. That's the end of it right there. And I don't know. I think we're in that era again of getting rid of some of the stuff, and I just don't like it, Marvin. It just feels not good.
No, yeah, it definitely doesn't. Yeah, man, I don't know. Like it's a hard thing because like there's an argument, like it says here in the article, that these props will ultimately be appreciated by passionate collectors who genuinely care about Disney history, which is not inherently a bad thing. But the concern is that what Disney is now choosing to give up, because museums and archives preserve that history, and Disney itself has historically preserved much of its own legacy. Selling that to private collections mean that these things will never again be seen by the general public. Right. And, when you build your company on a foundation of nostalgia and legacy, it's a remarkable shift in philosophy, away from, we're going to respect our past, we're going to display our past, we have all these things that we can roll out, in the future, to just like, we're going to make the money now really quickly and like, get the quick cash grab. Of course, ultimately, every fan has to decide how they feel about Disney's newest business venture. Some collectors will undoubtedly welcome the opportunity to own authentic pieces of Disney Parks history. This is going to go for a whole lot of money, Vash.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Yeah,
These things are going to go for so much.
Extraordinary, which it's really kind of interesting, too, to actually do this at D23. Remember, this was like a fan event right here. And now we're just using it as another venue, which is sell, I guess, other things, which is extraordinary. But Marvin, I do think you're right. I think these go for a lot of big bucks right here, and hey, it's what Disney wants, and path of least resistance.
Here's the main thesis here, Vash, because Disney isn't simply retiring attractions; it's tearing them down, harvesting the pieces, and then asking the very fans who begged for their preservation to bid against one another for the privilege of taking home a fragment of what they destroyed.
So beautifully worded right there, Marvin. That is exactly what's going on right here.
Thank you very much.
It is extraordinary.
It's the monetization of emotions and memories.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Oh man, the direct monetization as well. Well, okay. If I could add maybe a ray of sunshine here. I remember back in the day, I think it was the 1990s. Yeah, it was the mid-1990s when Electrical Parade was officially being retired at Disneyland. It had played, from 1972 onward right there, and a beloved parade, and everybody loved it. Everybody had great fond memories of it, but it's going to glow away forever. That was the tagline that they actually used right there. And as part of that, they actually sold individual light bulbs of those parade units right there. People said, okay, that's it. It's gone. And then it winds up in Paris, and then eventually it makes its way back to Disneyland Park. So, sometimes when you do harvest the organs and actually, remove this stuff, sometimes it comes back.
It does. And that's great, the Main Street Electrical Parade is a phenomenal example of them repurposing it and bringing it back and improving on it. And that's what everyone was hoping was going to happen here. But if you're selling it off, because if they have to rebuild props, if they have to rebuild signage, they're not going to do it.
They're not going to do it, no. Especially old animatronics and stuff like that. I mean, you could just kiss those goodbye. Now,
that's when you look at how bad that villain show is. It's so, I never see people go back there for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Nobody even knows that it's there.
Now, has attendance increased at all since maybe Muppets has been installed? Perhaps it's getting some, some crossover business right there, or no?
It might be getting some, but I honestly, I think that the rock and roller coaster crowds are going to normalize very quickly. Yeah. I think that you're going to start getting. Hold on, let me take a look right now. I'm going to open up the Disney World app.
That'd be an interesting idea.
Yeah, and I'm going to take a look at what it is saying right now for Disney's Hollywood Studios. I'm anticipating probably wait times in excess of an hour for that right now, but who knows?
Let's go ahead and look up those times, and as Marvin actually is doing that right here.
Yeah, I'm in the app right now, and I'm looking over at Hollywood Studios. Is that Hollywood Studios? Yes, it is. Hollywood Studios right now. Yeah, right now it's about 70-minute wait. For Muppet Vision. Yes. Or not Muppet Vision, Muppet Rock and Roller Coaster. That's been about what it's been for a while. And honestly, also, Vash, wasn't that kind of what Rock and Roller Coaster was doing before?
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be about an hour or so, and that's really consistent with that attraction. Even though it's an older attraction, there's not a ton of things to do in Disney's Hollywood Studios. So your e-tickets are always going to be slammed a little bit.
And honestly, I think that this is probably a very busy day right now with the 4th of July weekend, because I'm looking, Smuggler's Run is at 50 minutes right now. And Slinky Dog Dash is, of course, at 130 minutes. So, everything is pretty much around 35, 40 minutes. 40-minute wait for Runaway Railway right now. 40-minute wait for Toy Story Mania. Looks like 30 minutes for Alien Swirling Saucers, 70 for Rise of the Resistance. Star Tours still just a 10-minute wait, which, I like that Star Tours is reliable like that, where you can just kind of go on it whenever you want. But if you look over at Epcot though, it looks like Soarin' Across America is only 30 minutes right now.
So some of those summertime investments right there not necessarily paying off. Who knew, Marvin, that people wouldn't necessarily be that fond or interested in going on a 30-year-old coaster with just a Muppets overlay?
Yeah, go figure. Guardians of the Galaxy, by the way, also just has 70 minutes right now. Also, I don't think Epcot is very crowded today, based on what I'm seeing here. But yep, there you go, guys. They are taking away the things you love, stripping it down for parts, and then trying to sell it back to you, or even worse, making you battle it out with other people that miss these things, and the person with the most money wins. And honestly, if that is not a metaphor for the modern Walt Disney Company, I don't know what is. The person with the most money wins.
Thanks for watching That Park Plays News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.